Yo, bartender.
Bar's closed.
Hey, yo, bartender, what's good, man? Let me get a drink, man. Let me get a shot.
Hey, man, I know you just pulled up to the bar, but we closed.
Come on, man. You gotta be able to give me a shot, man. Come on.
You look like you need a drink, man, but I hate to tell you this, man. We about to close.
So you mean to tell me all these people out here, they got drinks and they got shots, but I can't get nothing. The bar closed that soon?
Okay, man, I don't know what else to say. I got this shorty half my age at the crib, and I'm trying to get to it. But last call was 10 minutes ago.
You know what? It's all right. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it.
All right. Tell you what, I'm gonna get you one drink, because it look like you need it.
One drink? I can do one drink. I can do one drink, because I really, yeah.
Hey, man, anything, man. Look like you got a lot on your mind and you need a friend right now. Pour it on me. Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome to Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome.
One of the things I want to brought to you by is Camo Dumpsters. This is a company doing great things in Tennessee, but again, we're going to make our way all the way back here, back to Atlanta as always. We got to get to Mecca, but one of the things I can tell you up in Tennessee, we're doing great things way out there in Wrigley, but we're making our way to Nashville, and also we're going to different parts. I don't even want to name the next part because I want to make some things clear up, you know.
Absolutely.
Even though I'm the VP, one of the things I want to tell you, can't talk too soon, but I can tell you one of the things, I'm knocking on your door. And everybody should know what that means. So if you got that garbage and you need it picked up, check us out at Camo Dumpsters. All right, now I got to get back to the person who's been rocking with me for over 6 years. This man coming in every time with a smile. Craftmatic, how you doing tonight, big baby?
I'm doing pretty good today, Jay.
Just pretty good.
Just pretty good.
I mean, you always smiling.
Well, I'm smiling. I had a good Friday night.
Oh, did you?
But I'm hurting this afternoon.
It sounds like you did a good thing. What did you do?
Well, I partied like a rock star.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
I kind of know, Jay,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
And let's go ahead and get the cat out the bag. This is my boy
Okay.
Smooth Jay's birthday weekend.
All right.
And we partied last night together, had a great time, and I can see a little hurt in his eyes.
A little.
And I'm sure he can see some hurt in my eyes.
Man.
But had a great time, and happy birthday to you, bro.
Man, I appreciate it. For all y'all want to know my age, I ain't gonna ever know. You don't know me, you ain't gonna. I'm like them women. I go backwards. I ain't going forward.
Right.
You ain't gonna be able to guess it, so give it up.
Right.
But as a birthday that I definitely gotta say, it went out like a blast. I enjoyed myself. For the people that came out, man, I'm gonna tell you, thank you very, very much for the support.
Yes.
It goes on again tonight. It seems like it just don't stop. But one of the things I'm very appreciative to everybody that honored me. One of my best friends told me, like, your birthday is the new year. And I like that because every year you get older, but that's your new year.
Yes.
So that's the year that you do something for you, the significant others, and others. So 3 things you got to do every birthday. My birthday actually is on Halloween. I celebrate kind of early, and then I celebrate after because that's what I like to do. So again, that's what I do.
Right. A great way to introduce our show. This is Bar Talk with Jay. My name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay. And we are here to liberate your minds and souls with a fantastic dialogue. Today's topic.
What we got?
Have you reached a point in your life where you can't trust anyone?
Yeah.
Whew, that's going to be a hot topic. We're going to have to dig deep on that one. And ultimately, we want you folks to grow through this show. This show is designed so that you can entertain ideas without having to deal with the actual experience. And so if you listen to this dialogue and you hear some truth, you hear some powerful ideas, just kind of lodge them in your head, lodge them in your heart. So when you get to the situation where you have to use those decisions, you will already have kind of some chinks in your armor. You will already have your wall built, some bricks in your wall to fight the good fight. And I think this is going to be a powerful topic because we all get to the point in life where we kind of lose trust. Sometimes with ourselves, sometimes with our significant others, sometimes with just the world. And we all need to learn how to deal with that. So stay tuned. We got a fantastic show lined up for you. Of course, we always start the show off with a prayer.
Yeah.
And I know, Jay, you want to do a prayer?
The way I was drinking last night, it had to be slurred like a bug. I think we need to do that.
Well, yeah, the Lord would
Not
like
to
to
the
slur.
He might understand what I'm saying. I'm just talking. It'd be a tongue to y'all.
Yeah,
and I don't know tongue, so I'm just telling you. Take it over.
Any topic? Any particular thing, interest for you personally? Maybe on this birthday year, this birthday season?
I don't know. Let's do something on the new. Because again, every birthday you turn an older age.
Yes.
But this you continue renewing yourself year after year.
Yes.
I like
that. All right, let's just hand it over to the Lord. Heavenly Father, we thank you for another opportunity to be here and do this great show, Bar Talk with Jay. We ask that you would continue to lead us and guide us in this show so that we can speak and understand wisdom. Mm-hmm. Heavenly Father, we ask today for our friend Jay. A spirit of newness and renewal in his life. We ask him, Father, that you would continue to take Jay down great paths of success and great paths of prosperity. We ask him, Father, that you would continuously to renew his spirit. Make him like he's brand new each and every day. You see, we have to wake up with the spirit of life, and we ask him that you would put that life in Brother Jay. We ask that you would put that life in us, Father, so that we can drive forward and do the good work that you would have us to do. Lead us, guide us, give us wisdom, strength, peace, honor, and all that is good. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Ooh, I felt that one.
Man, I felt like I wanted to go hard there. I was about to take a left turn, and we'll finish the show up next week.
I'll ride with you, player.
Yeah, man.
All right, then.
Yeah, the spirit of newness is something that we often don't call on very much.
No,
you know,
but we need it.
And we need it. We need it every single day. Sometimes life gets mundane. The foods we eat, the people we are around, the experiences that we continue to have. Sometimes we want to change ourselves. And so we're looking at the same bland self in the mirror. And, you know, people do extreme things when they get to that point. They change their hair and they start wearing different clothes. And, you know, in some cases, they may even start going out to different restaurants and eat food. We're all looking for life to be fresh and anew every day. And if you ask the Lord for newness and renewal, he will absolutely give it to you. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about what he will do if you come to him, you know? And so what else been going on in your life, Jay?
Man, I'm going to tell you, working way up there in Tennessee, man, showed me a lot. Because I've been so used to the city life here in Atlanta. And now I go up there in this country. And this country is
It's got to be different.
When I tell you it's way different, man.
It's got to be different, bro.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
You got to see it. It opens your eyes up to something different. But it ain't for everybody. It really wasn't for me.
And
I'm a city man. I wasn't really.
I'm a city boy. And I'm going to tell you, see, I come from Panama City, Florida, right? Small town, USA.
Okay.
And when I left Panama City, I started visiting cities like, you know, Gainesville, Florida, and Tallahassee, Florida. And then it moved on up to Orlando and Jacksonville. And when I graduated college, I went to Des Moines, Iowa. About as country as you can get.
Yeah.
Right?
I ain't never been there. That's our country there.
Yeah, you ain't missing nothing.
Yeah.
Listen, they got some good churches. And it's some wonderful.
I ain't going way out there for church.
Well, that's what you gonna get when you go up
Man,
there.
you go TD Jakes on everything.
You ain't gonna never find what we did last night in Des Moines, Iowa. Right?
No club like that?
No, bro. That last night was like, you know, the Black Cheers, the mecca of partying. You know, the mecca of getting your swerve on.
Count me out.
I done lived in 8 major cities and in 5 states, and there is nothing like Atlanta, Georgia. I have cuisines. I got all different type of people. I've got arts and sciences, and there's, you know, it's just so much. I tell you what, being around 6 million people will keep you on top of your game.
Oh yeah,
right? Because there's a level of like confidence in this city that if you don't get there, if you succumb to it, you're gonna be mashed down. And you don't want to be the mashed down guy. So you always got to keep your hustle strong in these city life. And a lot of opportunities, not only career but for fun. And you know, if you're looking for relationships, they're always here.
Oh, don't need to come to Atlanta for that. You can get that.
Well, no, don't count us out, Jay. Don't count them out.
For a relationship?
No, see,
you might as well take your bad to Tennessee.
You said, did you say yay?
You might as well go to Tennessee. I'm just telling you, you coming to Atlanta for a woman, you don't even know what you're going to get. She might have a dang-a-lang. You don't know what you get out here. I'm just saying, you got to watch it. Because Atlanta
is full
of everything. It's a brewing pot. You don't know.
You don't know.
Men ain't men. You don't know what it is.
But listen, Jay, I've been out here in this world, right, in full effect, and you can stay away from that stuff. I don't experience that stuff. I haven't experienced any of that stuff because I go where I know my people are.
Right.
Understand
You ain't got to
like,
pee my park.
like my no.
Ain't places you know where not to go.
Yeah, ain't got no business down there.
Because you know where not to go.
I don't even know, but the Lord just didn't draw me that direction. So
for a reason.
Yeah.
It wasn't your season.
But I like the idea. I'm gonna tell you, and this is one of the things me and my friends talked about just recently, that the small town USA women are much more wholesome sometimes than citified women, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to place judgments on anything, but you're talking about maybe a woman who hasn't had the opportunity to experience a lot of nonsense,
Right.
right? And maybe she's already got her grind on. She's already got her moves made. I oftentimes wish I might have taken up one of my old girlfriends from back in Panama City rather than being out here in the world trying to find a citified woman. Yeah. So I understand what you're saying, but there's gravy in everything. You know what I mean?
It can be.
You can find what you need.
You have to have a good understanding of people and understand game. Because here in Atlanta, if you don't understand game, you will have it ran
if you don't understand game, you will get taken in this city.
Quickly.
I mean, taken. And I was just, even last night, I was upset about the bill, right? Because this waitress, she looking at me, and I'm looking at her like she trying to see if she can get the game across.
Okay.
And so I let her run game. I think she charged me for 2 extra drinks that I didn't get, right? But I put a scratch through the tip and just let her go and do her thing. But because I'm at that place often, she'll never get my business again. Right? And so I won't even sit in her area no more, because she was running game. But game is a part of life, and if you don't know how to protect yourself from it,
you're going to get ran.
You're going to get taken. And I think that is going to be the nature of the entire discussion for tonight. When you lose trust for the world, it's because you feel uncomfortable. It's because you probably have been hurt. You probably have been taken. And we want to dive into that quite a bit. How much time we got left, Pooh? Right here? Still in this segment? 5? Okay. So we're going to go ahead. Let's go ahead and attack it, Jay. All right. So the question for today, our subject is, did I lose it again? No, I didn't. Right here. So, have you reached a point in your life where you can't trust anyone?
Yes. I've been at that point.
And what caused that, Jay?
Disappointment. Believing in people. Thinking that they would do exactly what they say. Their words put me in a vulnerable place. The promises. And these are the things that made me lose trust in a lot of things. And then myself. For allowing myself to let these people in. My circle. Just a disappointment. So,
But do you think it's fair to yourself that you invite someone in and they disappoint you? You can't really take ownership of that, can you?
I took ownership because of the fact that I let them in. Again, I control that. And that's one of the things that I didn't see when I let them in, that there would be a disappointment like that. And that's the saddest thing to me. Because they didn't act like that when I let them in.
Right.
But once they got in, they got comfortable, and then they acted like their true self.
And so does that disappointment that you are considering right now, does that kill the relationship?
It could kill that relationship and others. Because then it made me start looking at other people. Because the same things was kind of happening, but not on that degree.
Right.
There was this late, they ain't never be on time, but anything they said they never did. So I started looking at them too. But I didn't judge them as hard as I judged the person that was directly lying to me.
Right.
So yes, it killed that relationship, but then it started making me prejudge others, and I think that really made me become a bad person.
Yeah.
Because now I'm judging other people off of bad behavior of a person that I should have just squashed and pushed out and kept it moving. And now I start judging and I start looking at other people. So that led me to today with the problems that I have, and I have to let go.
It is true that one bad apple can spoil the bunch.
It can.
Right. And I think I find myself in that position sometimes as well when it comes to, my personal relationships, right? My loving relationships, my interpersonal relationships, that it's hard not to see what I've already seen. It's hard not to look through those eyes of those windows of perception. You know, everybody who knows me probably will know that one of my greatest challenges in life is that I was done wrong by somebody.
Right.
And so when you try to live your life after being done wrong by somebody and you haven't been healed, you haven't really assessed the situation, the next person doesn't really get a fair shot.
Nope.
You know, the next person doesn't really get a good look. And, you know, one of the things we've said over and over and over on this show is that nobody's healing. You know, people are just going from challenge to failure, to challenge to failure, to challenge to failure, and they're not really understanding what happened. Oftentimes they're not even willing to forgive what happened. And so when I asked you the question, hey, you know, if somebody done you wrong and disappointed, does that kill the relationship? Have you found that you've ever been disappointed by somebody and you were able to regain their trust,
Very few.
How does that work?
Very few. Because again, they worked at it. And them the ones that made me feel good about it because they seen the disappointment that I felt. And I made it very clear at that time. And they came back and they worked on it and they didn't have to speak on it. And that's the ones that I really appreciate. So now I felt good that they were still around me. But the ones that ignore you and keep on doing it is the ones that be like, I got a distance. Because association is everything. And that's not what I want to be associated with.
Right. When you fire somebody in your head, but you can't necessarily fire them from your life, how does that feel?
Usually with me is just ghosting. I'm very talkative. I talk a lot, a whole lot. And when you get me into that place where I'm very uncomfortable with you or dissatisfied or pissed off, I get to a point I don't talk. So now we're just holding the phone.
Yeah.
And it ain't gonna take me long before I can hang up on you.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is you can see I'm not me. I'm very talkative. I have nothing to say to you. I don't want to say anything to you. It's not much we can say.
Yeah.
Because the only thing you're doing is pissing me off. Because you don't stand behind anything and then you wasting my time. And my time is valuable. You don't pay me. So I'm going to go where I'm appreciated, not tolerated. So I'm going to drop that ass.
Yeah.
Just simple.
And, you know, we're ready to close now, but everyone hear what I'm trying to get to. Relationships have ups and downs.
Right.
And just because someone disappoints you don't mean you fire them. Don't mean you have to get rid of them. But sometimes you have to create a layer of protection. And that's what I want to talk about when we come back the next segment. You got to create a layer of protection so you can still operate and still function and still make life happen without necessarily being somebody that you're not. And we're going to talk more about that when we get back. We'll be right back with more Bar Talk with Jay right after this.
Welcome back to the Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome back.
Man, you get a little testy on the end part, man.
Well, you know, Jay, one of the things that I'm passionate about is I truly love people, man.
I mean,
you know, people make life worth living.
I care.
Right?
I care.
And in fact, there's one famous quote. You know, I got all kind of quotes on the Minecraft website. One famous quote that basically says that with no friends, everyone would choose to not live life. Like life would not be meaningful enough to even live if it wasn't for people and friends.
Right.
And you know, it probably takes a lot of experience to make those kind of claims. But we know that people make the world go round. And you know, all the way from our mothers to cousins and brothers and you know, past co-workers and your college buddies.
Right.
And, you know, all of these people make life meaningful.
Okay.
But just the nature of life, people will disappoint you.
It can happen.
And sometimes it happens because you expect too much. But sometimes it happens because they don't live up to the fundamental expectations.
Okay.
Right? But when that disappointment happens, you can't just run around firing people from your life.
Okay.
If you do, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you're basically saying, hey, I'm going to fire every person who's got faults or who I don't agree with, but I don't want them necessarily to fire me for my faults and because they don't disagree with me. Mm-hmm. So there's a yin and a yang that goes to relationships. And so let's bring it home.
Yes.
Let's bring it home, right?
Let's do that.
We all have children.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes our children go off the path. Our kids, they go off the beaten path. Sometimes they don't tell us the truth.
Mine stayed in the wilderness.
Sometimes they don't tell us about the trouble until the trouble is behind them. Sometimes they don't tell us about the trouble until they're in the trouble. But we know that kids are going to fall short of the glory. Mm-hmm. And so you can't fire your kids. How do you handle a situation where you don't trust your own children, but yet you got to move forward in life? What does that look like?
My life.
Okay.
Things that I deal with all the time.
Okay.
You gotta understand, man, they're your kids, so you're right. You can't fire them because they're the ones that you have to inspire. Right. They ain't asked to be here, but because you and her got together, y'all helped make this happen. Mm-hmm. So it's very difficult. And them are one of the true ones that make me push forward to stay with people because I gotta stay with me and I gotta do my job all the time.
Right.
I cannot take that responsibility for other people. I'm sorry. I will do it for my own. I can't just do it for a person that's in my space that don't care to be in my space. Because I created them. I didn't create the other person. I just allowed them in. So that's the difference. So the things I tolerate with my kids is because I know as a parent, I have to.
Because you have to.
Have to.
So you don't fire them only because you have to?
I don't fire them because they are mine and I have to. I have to love them. I don't have to like them. Okay? No one taught you had to like them.
Okay.
You don't have to like their decisions.
That's good,
You
Jay.
don't have to, but you have to love them. You got to love them all the way through.
Right.
Okay? Because again, they ain't asked to be here.
Right.
So I'm not going to do that with a person that's entering my space and then treating me like crap. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm going to treat you like my child. No, you're not my child, and you're not going to keep doing me like that. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to take the disrespect, and I'm not going to take that behavior. So I'm going to distance that. And I have that right. I can't do it exactly with my child because that's my child. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to try to make sure my child understands what I don't like.
Right.
And that way he can get his own decisions together and make better ones.
Right.
But for the person that is out there doing reckless things, you can do it. And I ain't going to really stop you. Just ain't going to do it next to me.
Yeah. And kind of what's coming up here, I don't want to lose my train of thought in this because this is really important.
What's that?
Notice Jay said, I have to love them. I don't have to like them. Mm-hmm. And what that suggests is that no matter what the disappointments are, I'm going to stand in the gap for my babies.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? I don't care if they rob a bank. I don't, you know what I'm saying? They can go way off the beaten path. I'm not going to support bad behavior,
Right.
but I'm going to love my child.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Hear the message here, right? Disappointment doesn't mean I stop caring. Disappointment means I might have to separate myself a little bit, but I'm going to love them. I'm going to pray for them. I'm going to keep pouring in. I'm going to keep helping. I'm going to keep giving. I'm going to keep supporting. I recently watched the Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix episodes.
Hang on, man. Why?
Well, I wanted to understand. We've been hearing stories for years.
Right.
Years and years and years. I wanted to hear the story. Right? Because many of the things that I had heard over the years was nonsense based on the story.
Right.
Based on what was told in the narrative. But let me tell you, man, if you haven't seen it and you decide to look at it, what you're going to see in Jeffrey Dahmer's father is a person who went balls to the wall all day, every day in the sun. He didn't know his son was doing those things. Okay. But he cried all the way through that movie in major grief because his son wouldn't stay on the path of righteousness. Mm. He didn't know he was killing and eating people, but his son was always doing nonsensical things. Mm. But his father, I remember one scene toward the end of the movie that all his father could do was just put his head in his hands and cry. Like there was just nothing else left for him. He couldn't even help his child anymore, right? And so I'm thinking through that scenario like, wow, that's, his father might have even loved to a fault, right? But he wasn't going to turn his back on his child. He did not support any of the nonsense that his child did,
Right.
but he didn't turn his back. And that's the message of this show, is that because people disappoint you, especially your children, you don't turn away. You don't turn away from loved ones. That is, it's like Christ turning away from you. God turning away from you because of the things that you did. You would never want the Lord to turn his back on you for what you did. And ultimately, he gives you an opportunity to ask for forgiveness and to repent and et cetera, et cetera. But sometimes kids go through their challenges and they don't have those, they don't know to do that, right? But you still keep on loving them. And, we can't say any more about that. Now,
but I'm going to go back to that.
Go ahead.
The reason I want to go back to it is you watched it and I didn't. And that just lets you know how sometimes we prejudge. You wanted to be interested to find out the real story.
Right.
I wasn't interested at all.
Right.
I heard the stories enough to know I'm not going to watch a person that victimized and ate on people. I can care less for his story. Mm-hmm. I feel like that man right there is horrible. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to give any credits to the person that even thought about making that movie, because that's a horror. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like America today, they like that. They like that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But this man has killed people. And where is the payment for all the wrongs that he did? I understand the father cried, but there's people that lost their lives because of his son. And you're not doing anything to do for their families. So that's heartening to me, very heartening. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can't support, I'm not going to watch, and I really do not like the fact that they will put a movie out like this at a time that we all are suffering. Yeah. And then you're going to give me this? This is the best thing that you can bring to the picture industry, and you control everything? And remember, they control music and everything else, so now you want me to go through this horror? We already went through slavery. I didn't have to go through it all. But it's enough back there to make me realize what I'm not going to tolerate no more. And they keep putting it in front of me. So the only thing I can do is not support and not watch. Mm-hmm. Now, you bring out some things that I have to sit back and say, maybe I overly judge. Mm-hmm. Because now you told me about the father. I didn't know nothing about the father.
And he played a major part in that show.
Right. And I didn't watch it, so I can't even say. So I have to sit back and be humble to listen to you, because you took the interest to watch. And I feel like that's why we prejudge, because we starting to lose that trust in the system and everything that's out here, so you don't watch.
Jay, part of me watching it literally, I think it was coming across my screen for like 6 or 8 weeks before I decided I would watch it. Mm-hmm. And I had said to it, I had rejected it over and over and over and over. And finally I said, you know what, Stacy, just give it a chance and see what's there. Mm-hmm. And as I started watching it, I'm going to tell you, Jay, as a leader in our community, you need to see it. Because you need to see how the troubles penetrated our community. You need to see what they did and what they didn't do. They don't show you very much of the brutal stuff.
Right.
But they tell you how it unfolded. You might get an opportunity to stop somebody from going down this alleyway because you know where that calamity happened. Mm-hmm. And how it unfolded. So I honor your thoughts and beliefs, but everyone can hear that Jay lost trust for all of it and have no interest in any of it. I just took a small liberty to watch it just to see if there was any value. And when you see this black woman who what she went through this whole ordeal, when she knowing the truth, it really will say that it'll kind of give you an opportunity to say, wow, somebody was really right there all the time. When you see Jesse Jackson at the end of the movie come in and protect the entire community and tell them that I'm not leaving until I get results, that strengthens you, Jay. That strengthened me. You know what I mean? But so I honor you, but sometimes when we lose trust, we're never interested in regaining trust. And we all have to figure out how we can continue to grow and heal through these situations. Not just the dominant, but even when your child does something, you know. When we come back from break, I think we're about ready. Not yet. Okay. What we want to talk about really next, we had kids. Kids, you almost have to stay in the game.
Right.
But when you start talking about a spouse, do you have to stay in the game? A girlfriend, a significant other, a boyfriend. You know, when you tied to them and all of a sudden they disappoint you. How do you deal with that? Do they get 3 disappointments and then they're out? Or does the disappointment have to be an 8 or above 3 times? You know,
how the baseball game is played.
How do you deal with people who you lose trust in, Jay, but you have to stay
there?
It's
rules to the game. It's 3 out. You know, you can't go for 4, bro. It is what it is. They wrote the rules.
3 in and 3 out.
But I'll tell you what, man, just like the Jeffrey Dahmer movie that you brought up, one of the things you got to realize is when you open your mind and your ears to realize that you might have overly judged. And then at that point, you can go back and watch. I might go now back and watch. Why? Because a person that I care for is just telling me why he watched it. And now I have to humble myself to realize that I could have overly judged. And now I can go back and do. You can correct a lot of things when you open your mind to. If you keep your mind closed, then you won't do.
Yeah.
That's called hardened.
Yeah.
You can be very hardened by the hurt and the pains of everybody giving you, and you can be softened by a person that's next to you. Yeah. Just letting you know, them pains I felt too, but I see things differently.
Yeah. And we're going to have a whole other segment to talk about spouses. Just because you mentioned Jeffrey here, I just want to just kind of talk about that a little bit more. Because the whole world lost trust, right?
Yes.
And ultimately we want to find a way to build trust. When I watched the movie, Jay, that the very first thing that his father, I guess it's somewhere in the movie where his father said, while he was in the stomach, his mom was taking mad drugs. Massive drugs. I'm talking about his dad was listing them off, all the stuff that she was taking while she was pregnant with the kid. And as you watch the show, you can see clearly that the child is sick. You can see he's off on way other beaten paths. You know what I mean? And his dad didn't catch the symptoms, but he was sick. And not only was he sick, he knew he was sick. He just couldn't stop it. He tried to stop it. He actually stopped it on several times. There are several people that got away, that he let go. And then there are some that he couldn't quite get a hold of, but he was sick, Jay. He was sick because, you remember that movie, It's Alive?
Yeah.
The movie It's Alive is about a woman who had a baby, and the baby was like a monster. And it would kill everybody in the operating room, in the delivery room. But the baby was sick, became a monster because the mother had taken a whole bunch of drugs and stuff while she was pregnant, right? So, we don't want to pass blame, and we don't want to take away responsibility. Right. But he was sick, Jay. And if my kid or your kid or anybody else's kid was sick to that degree, we might could see it,
Welcome back to Bar Talk with you.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
You on that phone right there, man. Little Jeffrey Dahmer done changed you, bro. You hungry?
Nah, man.
Let me know, bro.
Yeah. It's just an opportunity to see the world from a different angle, Jay. That's all.
Right. And you know something? I like to say that we need to be more open and transparent doing things like that. I got closed-minded. And I think it happens a lot, man, when you deal with disappointment.
And see, that's what happens. Disappointment can shut you down.
It
right?
has.
But watch this. If you, as we were talking about the children, if disappointment shuts you down with your kids, you miss the opportunity to correct. You miss the opportunity to help and support and do all the things that we're supposed to do as a parent, right? Even in the case of Jeffrey, if you miss this this series, you'll kind of miss the opportunity to figure out where the wrongs happened
Right.
So that if you one day have to be a part of the solution, you could be, and that's all I was interested in. But when it comes to this spouse thing, I grit my teeth a little bit. When it comes
No. I want you to say that same energy. Like, you came with that Jeffrey. You came hard in the paint. I need you to come hard with this one.
Yeah.
And we both been divorced. So I want to see you come hard.
So let me ask you, Jay. Tell me about the disappointments. Tell me about where the trust was lost that ended your marriage.
Oh, you want me to snitch on myself? Hold on my show? Really?
I mean, all you're doing is reflecting, just a cold reflection. We're not asking for the stories. Just
that's a cold reflection right there. I just snitched right then. It was me. You gotta understand. A lot of times I didn't want to take responsibility. I let my ego get in front of me. So one of the things that I noticed is I was letting my job and my career grow, and I forgot the person that had me. I had a ride or die that was right there, but I was too busy getting up there and everybody in my ear. So I forgot the person that rode with me. And then when I got home, that person was just nagging and crying and saying all these other things. And after a while, I tuned her out. So I wasn't listening. And that's one of the hugest things that I could tell you that will cause a failure in anything is when you're not paying attention to the person that you're with. So again, I caused my own demise. But then I questioned her about my own behavior. I'm like, well, why are you acting like a butthole? Not looking at myself. It's easier for me to pass judgment on someone else than correct yourself. And that's exactly what I did. And it caused all kinds of back and forth problems.
Yeah.
And we rode that for a minute and a half before the actual divorce or anything like that.
And so you rode it for a minute and a half. Is that to suggest that she kept loving you even through your disappointment?
She tried to. But again, you could only tolerate so much.
And were those disappointments because you really weren't there? Or were you just in another zone? What was going on? Why?
Another zone. It wasn't just there. She already knew I had to work. So the work portion of it wasn't bothering. But the whole thing is, we'll get in an argument and I'll leave. I'm not going to stay here. I ain't got to stay here. And I'll leave. So she was left to deal with it. So when I get back thinking it was going to get better, it only got worse. Sometimes it got better because she just learned to be quiet. She learned not to say anything because she wanted me there.
Right.
It didn't take her long to realize it ain't worth me being there for her just to go right back into it because she was tired of me as well. And that's where it caused the demise. It's not opening yourself up to realize your wrongs. And again, I had my own disappointment because I'm able to look back and reflect and say, you know something? I should have been a better person. But I wasn't because I got into that light.
But, okay, so watch this. Was there a trust issue between the two of you?
It wasn't a big trust issue as a bad thing. It was a good trust issue. But trust started depleting because I wasn't there, naturally working all the time. And then when I was there, I wasn't trying to pay attention to all the things she was saying. It was like I was just there, but I paid the bills, so it wasn't like I was a deadbeat. But again, as a father, it's more to it than just showing up and paying. You got to be in tune. So I wasn't in tune with the kids. So now I see my boys and they doing crazy stuff. I have to take ownership because I took care of financially, but I should have been there mentally as well.
Yes.
So again, I really feel like there are some failures on my part, not to get them off the hook, to make them feel like, well, this is why I did it. No, they got to grow up and realize, even though I made mistakes, you're making them too. You're falling real close to a tree that I didn't want you to fall to. That's why I'm able to do this show and speak it. They can hear it and then they can correct it. Yep. But if you listen and then you don't hear it, you're doing the same thing I did. Right. That's why I listen more now than I ever did before. How I can make a relationship work? Because I take time to listen. I had to fail at it to get good at it. Yeah. I don't even look at it as a failure anymore. It's just a lesson. It was that whole thing was a lesson to get better. Right. But they so hard-headed. They don't want to listen to the lesson. They want to listen to a tune. They want to rap. They want to do this. Okay, but are you writing it? Are you doing it? You know what I'm saying? It's good to like something, but you got to be good at something. God gave you a gift and you're not using it. You're too busy looking at somebody else's. And that's where I feel like we fall off the path. I just want them to get on path because they got a lot in front of them, and I want them to be great at it. It's sad to me that I had to get mine late, but I'm happy that I was able to get it. Now that I get it, there's things falling in place with me now, And the people that's around me now are loving. My whole cast, crew that's here. You know, I got my boy Boob and his son. You know, it's great to be able to see family.
Yeah.
You know, it's a family show.
Yeah.
So for us to grow and be able to see each other and to do a show and create great things, remind me of the Hustables way back in the day, showing that we can do great things. That's what I want to see, and that's what I want to keep on creating. Great things that we can be passed down for other people to hear and see and grow.
Okay, well, you just opened a door right there, and you want some fire?
Go for it, man.
I completely lost trust in Bill Cosby, and you mentioned the Huxtables.
I mean,
It's a Jeffrey Dahmer situation, right?
Go for it, man.
So, but you're still holding that esteem because that presented the image, and I like
image.
that, right?
Correct.
I like that, and I don't want to say any more about that.
Well, no, bring the fire, bro.
I do want to cover relationships in this trust issue.
Okay.
Because I think somebody's going to grow from this, right? Folks, you must understand that if you are in a relationship with anyone, friend, your boss, your kids, your spouse, not feeling understood and not listening breaks the trust. If I don't feel like you understand me, or I don't feel like you're listening to me, I don't feel like you want to hear what I got to say, that breaks the trust. And it happens a lot, especially in kids' relationships. Like, you don't want to hear what your child got to say. Do what I tell you to do, make it happen, right? But your child is like, okay, if I can't talk to you, then I'm not going to tell you my problems anymore. And so now I'm going to go make decisions some other way. I'm going to go make decisions based off my friends or what I think myself. But if you don't push me away, Mom, if you don't push me away, Dad, I can talk to you about what I'm dealing with.
Right.
And if I feel like and that was one of my strongholds in life, is I always felt like I could talk to my father about anything, right? Whether he agreed or disagreed, he never judged me when I came to him. And that built extreme trust, right? The mental side of a relationship is everything. Okay. And if I don't believe I can trust you, I don't confide in you. I don't share with you. I am really not comfortable in the same room with somebody who I can't confide in. Right? You ever been in a room with somebody and you were about to say something, but you realize who was in the room? Oh no, they're gonna take that information and they're gonna go tell somebody else, or they're gonna use it against me later on. Right? So trust is broken because I don't believe I can confide.
Correct.
Right? That's a very important point to understand, and it probably needs a little more dialogue. But when you are in a relationship, there's always going to be something that you disagree with. Right? There's always going to be something that just didn't quite feel right. What they said, what they did, how they did it, when they did it, whatever that happens to be. You're never going to be in a relationship if you just fire people for not getting what you want. So now you have to go and communicate what you want, or what you saw, or what you didn't see. And that means you got to be proactive about bringing a new understanding to the relationship.
Okay.
Right? Relationships will not repair on their own. If trust has been lost in any way, if your spouse, teed you off yesterday or last week with something they did, it may take you a few days to get to it, but that trust is never going to be rebuilt until you proactively address it. Otherwise, you're always wondering and questioning and doubting. And not only that, add their lack of trust, lack of doubt, lack of understanding. So now you got, you got lack of trust exponential. So the key to trust, especially in a relationship, is communication. Can't say it any simpler than that. And I'm encouraging you folks to get outside of your comfort zone. There are too many relationships. We've all heard about relationships where people separate, and they may separate for 10, 20, 30 years, and nobody even know what the hell the problem is, why it happened, because they're unwilling to be proactive to go back in and address the issue. And so they just say, I'm not going to deal with it anymore. They never hear me. They never listen to me. Many of those things are always just perceptions and may not necessarily be reality. Sometimes relationships, I think a lot of times relationships are resting on perceptions rather than resting on realities. And when you reach a hard place in a relationship, perceptions is not going to get you through. Perceptions is actually going to cause you to fall through the floor. But if you can find a way, and again, this is for everyone. I'm particularly speaking to myself,
Okay.
because I want love in my life. And I know that whatever she comes with, we're probably not going to always see eye to eye. So I'm reminding myself that, Stacy, in order for you to manifest your ideal love, you're going to have to be proactive and intentional at maintaining that trust. That means, you can't be picky in a relationship. If you call out everything that someone does that you don't like, you're nitpicking at them,
Right.
that's just not going to work. But when you choose your battles and you say, hey, this thing right here, that can't happen again. Let me go, honey, can we sit down and have a conversation about something? I got something I want to talk to you about. That's being proactive and intentional, because it's easy to run. It's easy to just not address it. It's easy to just act like it didn't happen. But here's what's happening. The lack of trust has been broken. And then you're sitting over here on the sideline in your feelings. Right? Sometimes highly upset. Sometimes so much in your head that you don't do the sweet and nice things that you would normally do in a spousal relationship or in a relationship. I remember my ex-wife had done a number of things that, kind of challenged me. We weren't, this was the last year, we weren't talking a lot, and, we knew there was heat in the relationship.
Right.
And later on, we had an opportunity to talk about it, and she said, you didn't do anything for me. You stopped buying me flowers, you stopped taking me out, you stopped doing all this. And in the moment that she said that to me, I realized that my perceived notions of reality was causing me not to be sweet to my wife.
Of course.
It was causing me to hold back, and I wasn't even aware of it.
It was disappointing, yeah.
I was disappointed. But the key is you got to address the issue. Because no matter where the trust has been lost, it has to be rebuilt. Child, spouse, boss, neighbor, friend, people that you care about, don't let those black holes fill your relationship. And that's all I'm suggesting here today.
And I agree with you. And another thing is, somebody new to my life was doing something for me that I really appreciate. One of the things that they did for me is they gave me time and space. Please understand, you're not going to be perfect. But take the time to realize that this person went and prayed over it. Okay? And didn't say anything to me until a lot later.
Right.
And I just happened to be letting her know about how I feel, because I'm very vocal. And she was like, yeah, there was some things that I have problems you do. And I'm sitting there like, what? Oh, you ain't not me. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, no, not here.
Yeah, going on with you, right?
Yeah,
Right.
That's in your head.
Right.
And she said, but I gave it to God. It gave me a sigh and a great relief, because they also gave me time. In that time, you can be softened to realize you can see a different point of view. But a lot of times, you think everything got to be rushed. You got to give people a time factor to get them to accept. I have to accept that information. I have to process, and then I have to deal with it, and then you will see a better me.
That's good.
But when you just give it to me, you ram it on me, I'm going to reject, because I feel it's a defense now. I'm not going to just take anything, and you're not going to do me anyway. So now you're not going to see the best of me. You're going to see the worst.
Right.
But she allowed me to understand how you can break down a person slowly compared to quickly. And she gave me the opportunity to see things differently.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not saying it's for everybody, because everybody ain't gonna see it the same, but it worked for me.
But what you said was profound, Jay, because what it suggests is that there is a methodology to attack the lack of trust. There's a process there, okay? And the process is based upon your audience. If you know that somebody has a quick temper or blows up, you got to find a way to meet them where they are. All right? They are who they are. But if you got somebody who's, easy to cry and get upset and it ruins their whole day, then you got to find another way to sometimes deliver the bad news. And I'm going to close with this. I know we're out of time here, but we all need to be open to constructive criticism.
Yes.
We do not live as an island unto ourselves in this life. It's not the way the world works. If there's anybody in your immediate circle, you have to be satisfied and they have to be satisfied.
Yep.
And they don't see the world like you see the world. And so at some point, there's going to be some incongruencies. If they come to you and share their incongruency, don't get upset. Just try to understand. Sometimes you just listen and don't say anything. And then you come back and kind of regurgitate what they said to you. What I heard you say was X, Y, and Z. But the worst thing that can happen in an effort to build trust is that one is putting themselves in vulnerability to come and build trust, and it blows up. You act the ass. They're never coming back to build that trust again. They're never coming back to talk to you again. So be careful with the people you love. Be careful with the people who are important to you. They need your understanding, and there is no relationship without the understanding. They may be there, but they really might not be in your corner if they're not understanding and love. So we probably could go on with this for a little while longer, but I just want to thank you folks for being with us tonight. This has been Bar Talk with Jay. My name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay.
In the building.
And we hope that you found some liberation and some truth in your soul. We hope you've got some understanding. We certainly are grateful for you folks being here tonight. We're here every Thursday from 7 to 8 Facebook Live. We're on all the major platforms. Please like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends and family. And bring everybody you know into the show out here to see some of this good, wholesome conversation and wisdom that we talk. We love you folks. We appreciate you. And with that, we are out.
Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk.